Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the NBA slate on Draftkings for Monday, November the 7th. We have a full 15 game slate tonight, guys. Every single team is in action. Every single team is playing tonight. Don't know if we've had a 15 game slate in since I started playing DFS. I started playing DFS like 6 years ago. I don't know if I've ever seen a 15 game NBA slate. Usually there's at least a couple teams that aren't going to play. But every single team is playing today. It's a massive slate. We're going to talk through each one of these games. We're going to try and keep this video as short as possible. Some of these games we'll spend a little bit more time on, but a lot of these games we're just going to fly through because there's not going to be a ton to love. But we'll still go game by game and talk through each one of these 15 games, give you guys kind of my quick and early thoughts on the slate, what does stand out to me, taking a first look on Sunday night. But before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Also, check out PrizePicks. They are the sponsor of this video. You can sign up for PrizePicks and use promo code NOAH. When you do sign up with my promo code, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. And PrizePicks is a player prop-based DFS site. Very simple, very easy to use. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. They do have some projections already posted for Monday's slate. You guys can take a look at their board, see if there's anything that stands out to you. Obviously, with it being such a big slate, there's going to be a ton of props to choose from today. So you can take a look at their full board once it gets posted sometime on Monday afternoon. See if you like any props. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. You guys definitely need to be playing over there. Make sure that when you get signed up, use promo code NOAH. That way you do get that deposit bonus when you sign up. And I should have a PrizePicks video posted sometime, probably on Monday, early Monday morning. Don't know if I'll be able to make the video tonight just because there's not a ton of props up right now. But once we get most of the board posted, I'll try and give you guys some plays I like for PrizePicks today. Definitely check out that video. Should be posted sometime on Monday. But let's talk through the slate for Monday, guys. The full 15 games. Start off with the first game of the night, the Wizards and the Hornets. So most of my interest in this game is going to come on the Wizards side. So Bradley Beal got ruled out Sunday. The Wizards are one of the few teams on a back-to-back today. They did play on Sunday. Bradley Beal entered health and safety protocols, did not play. I'm guessing, given that he entered health and safety protocols on Sunday, he probably won't be playing today. So I'm expecting Bradley Beal to be out. And if Bradley Beal is out, I think we can expect pretty big roles for Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma, even a guy like Monte Morris. I'm pretty sure none of these guys did that well Sunday, but it's a great matchup for Porzingis. I think he's in a really good spot here. He's only 7,700. I like him a lot in this matchup, especially if Bradley Beal is out. I think Kyle Kuzma at 7K would become playable. I haven't really played Kuzma at all this season, but I'd have some interest in him if Beal's out today. And then Monte Morris, for value, I do kind of like at 4,800. He had a mediocre game on Sunday without Beal, but did play 33 minutes. Should have the ball in his hands a lot more. Should pick up some more usage with Beal off the floor. And then if you do want to go to a guy like Will Barton coming off the bench, I don't hate that. He only played 24 minutes, but he was productive in those 24 minutes. I know Denny Avia got the start, or he's been starting, I think. I think it was Corey Kispert who got the start. Or they started Avia Sunday, but they also started Kispert. So don't know if I'd want to go to Kispert, but Avia he's a guy that has shown he kind of can be productive when he gets minutes. So he'd be a playable value. But my main interest in this game is coming from the Washington side with especially Porzingis I like a lot, and then Kuzma and Monte Morris I have some interest in too, all assuming that Bradley Beal is out. Now if Bradley Beal plays, then I'm not really interested in much from the Wizards. Still think you could go to Porzingis, but he'd be more of a GBP option. Maybe you could target Beal in a good matchup, but I'm expecting Beal to be out, which is why I do like some of these Wizards guys. On the Charlotte side, there's not really much to like on Charlotte. Terry Rozier's back. He played 36 minutes in his first game back. He's 7,700, which I think is a price tag that puts him in play. So I don't hate Rozier in GPPs, but most of these Charlotte guys I'm not that interested in on a big slate like this. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game. Talk about Houston and Orlando. So for this game, there's not a ton that I love in this one. These Orlando guys have been playing pretty well lately. They've been producing obviously with Cole Anthony off the floor, but they're all kind of priced up. Banchero's 8,700, Wendell Carter's 7,500. It's a really, really good matchup against Houston. But where these guys are priced, none of them really stand out. I mean, they're all kind of priced correctly, if not a little bit too expensive, a little bit more expensive than I would like to pay. And then on the Houston side, I mean, I don't see too much I really like on Houston. Şengün's a guy that I've been playing lately, but he's kind of been in the low 5K range. Now he's 6,500. I think 6,500 is an appropriate price tag for Şengün, but he is a guy that can be very productive when he gets minutes. So I still think he is viable today. Do want to mention Jalen Suggs. I think if I were to target someone on Orlando, Jalen Suggs probably would be the guy I'd go to. He's been playing really well lately, been getting big minutes. Game against Sacramento, wasn't the best game, but we saw him have a really big game against Golden State. If he's going to start and play like high 30s minutes, I think at 5,800, especially in a really good matchup against Houston, he's someone that we could look to in GPPs. But that's probably it for this game. I know Jabari Smith missed their last game, but he's probable, so he's expected back. Doesn't really change much. So that's it for this one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, OKC and Detroit. So this is one that, again, doesn't look that appealing on the OKC side. Really, if I'm going to target anyone on the Thunder today, it would be SGA. I think SGA is always in play. Now, on a 15-game slate where we basically have every stud available, you have Jokic, Giannis, Luka. Is SGA like a top priority for me? I don't think so. But if you're playing like 150 lineups, if you're max entering, I would have SGA in my player pool. But like on the Detroit side, I really don't see any Pistons I'm liking today. Cade Cunningham's another guy that has a lot of upside. I think the matchup here against OKC is fine. But again, like on a 15-game slate, am I going to be rostering Cade Cunningham in my main lineup? Probably not. If I was playing 150 lineups, I'd have exposure to Cade Cunningham. But there's no standout plays coming from this OKC-Detroit game. Just nothing really stands out here. Most likely going to be a game that I just kind of avoid today. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, the Pelicans and the Pacers. So for this game, Zion did get injured late in their last game on Saturday against the Hawks. He got injured in overtime and he had to come out. I'm expecting Zion to play today, so I'm not really worried about his status. The Pelicans, when they're fully healthy, they're not a team that really I love going to, especially when they're all priced appropriately. I will say it's a really good matchup against Indiana, so I would not be surprised if one of these Pelicans guys do really well. Like Zion should crush here. I don't think Indiana has anyone to guard him. I think it's a really good spot for J-Val, but J-Val's minutes have just been all over the place, so he's a tough guy to trust. And then on the Pacers side, there's not many standout plays from the Pacers. Halliburton's 8,500, which feels priced about right. It's going to be a tough matchup for him as well. He's probably going to be guarded by Herb Jones. Buddy Hield's shown some upside. His minutes have been a lot higher lately, but he's 6,600 now, which I think is a appropriate price tag. Not much I'm loving in this Pelicans-Pacers game. Again, guys, 15-game slate, so I really don't want to talk about every single player. That doesn't do any good. I really want to hit on the guys I have the most interest in. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, the Suns and the Sixers. So on the Sixers side, that's where most of my interest in is coming from this one. We already know James Harden's going to be out for a good bit. Joel Embiid is questionable. I think Joel Embiid has missed like their last 2 or 3 games. Seems like he's going to play for this one for Monday, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. If Embiid does return, that does kind of limit the upside on guys like Maxey, Tobias Harris. Obviously, we saw Montrezl Harrell start last game. He would basically be out of play. Maxey's 7,800. Tobias Harris is 6,600. I think if Embiid is out, I still do kind of like these guys. Now, it's a tough matchup for Maxey, but his upside is just going to be so high. He's going to have such a big usage rate. He took 29 shots last game without Embiid and Harden. He played 39 minutes. We also saw Tobias Harris have a pretty good game. He put up 46 DK points in 37 minutes. These guys would just have to really dominate the usage. The usage would be so concentrated around Harris and Maxey if Embiid sits. Now, if Embiid plays, then I think at their price tags, Harris and Maxey just, they look okay. They're not like standout options. Do want to talk about D'Anthony Melton, though. He did start last game in place of James Harden, and he should be in the starting lineup moving forward while Harden is out. He played 30 minutes, and he did get into some early foul trouble, so he probably would have played more than 30 minutes last game. Was very productive, had 39 Draftkings points. His point per minute production would probably take a little bit of a hit if Embiid comes back, but I still think at 5,300, D'Anthony Melton is in play today just because he is a good point per minute player, and he should play over 30 minutes here. The minutes should be pretty secure for him while James Harden is out. So he's kind of interesting as kind of a cheaper value. Again, if Embiid does sit, you do have Montrezl Harrell at 4,500, who did start last game in place of Embiid. Actually played 29 minutes, had 26 DK points. I would have interest in Harrell today if Embiid were to sit. On the Phoenix side, I'm not really seeing much I like on Phoenix today. Everyone feels appropriately priced for this matchup. I will say that we do have no Cam Johnson here for Phoenix, and we did see Torrey Craig draw the start last game in place of Cam Johnson. He was pretty productive in the limited minutes he played. It was a massive blowout, so he didn't really play a ton of minutes, but 25 DK points in just 22 minutes. Torrey Craig has historically not been a great point per minute player, but he's only 4K. He should start again today. He's a playable value, but we'll probably have some better value today, I would assume. We might get some injury news that could open up value. So that does it for this game. Let's move on to the next one, talk about Milwaukee and Atlanta. So Giannis Antetokounmpo did not play Saturday, but he should be back for today. I'm expecting Giannis to play. Trae Young is questionable, though, so this is one of the big injuries we'll need to watch. Trae Young was questionable for their game on Saturday, and he wound up playing. Played 42 minutes in overtime. Definitely going to have to keep an eye on his status. Now, starting off with Milwaukee, The only guy that really stands out from Milwaukee is Giannis. Obviously, Drew, Portis, all these guys got priced up, from last game when Giannis was out. So none of them look great today. But Giannis is 12.6. He's very expensive. I never have a problem paying up for Giannis. It's just a matter of what kind of value that we're going to have. If we don't really get much value, then paying up for Giannis is probably not going to be something that I'll be able to do. But if we get a lot of value as the day goes on, then I never have a problem paying up for Giannis. He just has such a high floor, such a high ceiling. He did do really well against Atlanta when they played recently. Definitely think Giannis is in play today. And on the Atlanta side, most of my interest in Atlanta is going to depend on if Trae is in or out. If Trae plays, I really don't see much I'm liking on Atlanta today. Clint Capella finally had a big game last game. Do want to mention that. He played 35 minutes in overtime. Capella's always been a guy that I've always had interest in for DFS because he is a very good point per minute player. He's a good scorer, at least like around the rim. He can get a lot of putbacks. He's a great rebounder. He's a good shot blocker. It's just that his minutes have not been that great this season. He's only been playing like 25, 26 minutes a night. Maybe after his big game last game, we might see them up Capella's minutes a little bit here. He did play 29 minutes last time they faced Milwaukee for what it's worth. So it's like a GPP value. But nobody's going to play Capella today, I would assume. So 5,500, I think Capella is kind of viable. He's probably my favorite play on Atlanta. If Trae Young gets ruled out, then I think we can start to look to some of these other guys. Like DeJounte Murray, I would like a lot if Trae Young is out. I think John Collins would get a boost. Don't know if Clint Capella's role would really change at all, but I think DeAndre Hunter would look a little bit more appealing. And then you might get some value with a guy like Aaron Holiday. He maybe would start if Trae Young got ruled out. He'd be playable. But for now, I'm expecting Trae to play, and really nothing stands out on Atlanta besides Capella as kind of like a GPP dart throw. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, guys. We still got a lot more to get through. Portland and Miami. So looking at Portland today, Damian Lillard's questionable. Anthony Simons is doubtful. And I think Josh Hart's probable. So obviously Damian Lillard, if he returns for this game, that pretty much takes me off of everyone on Portland. All these Portland guys got priced up for when Damian Lillard was out. So none of them would look that great today if Dame plays. If Dame remains out and we have no Dame and no Simons, then you can expect big roles for Nurkic, for Jeremy Grant, for Josh Hart. Shaedon Sharpe would get some playing time. Justice Winslow's been starting lately. He probably would start once again. But I think Dame's got a good chance to play. We'll have to keep an eye on this. If Dame does return, I'm really not interested in anyone on Portland. I think Dame could maybe be viable as a low-owned dart throw. I'd expect nobody plays him today, and he should have a very big role and a very big usage rate, especially with Simons out too. So that's kind of interesting. But then on the Miami side, not really liking much on Miami. So Jimmy Butler's off the injury report. He's expected back for this game, which basically doesn't make any of the Miami guys look that appealing. All these Miami guys got priced up for when Jimmy was out. And it's worth noting that Tyler Hero is questionable for today. So this is kind of important. If Tyler Hero does sit, that actually would make Jimmy kind of an appealing option because I think Jimmy's usage would definitely go up if Hero were to be out. Hero does demand a lot of usage when he's on the floor. So that's kind of interesting. Bam on this slate doesn't really stand out. I think Kyle Lowry would maybe be viable if Hero's out. But in general, I'm not really liking much in this game. I'm only going to have interest in some guys in this one if Dame gets ruled out, if Hero gets ruled out, then that would definitely change my thoughts. But for now, not seeing much I like in Portland and Miami. So next game, the Raptors and the Bulls. I think we just saw these teams play on Sunday. They are playing once again on Monday. Zach LaVine did not play Sunday. I'm assuming he will play today, kind of since it's he didn't play the front end of the back-to-back, so I'm guessing he'll play this game. So expecting LaVine to play doesn't really make anything look good on Chicago. I think all these Chicago guys on this slate just are low-owned dart throws at best. Now on the Toronto side, we still have no Pascal Siakam, who I think is going to be out for at least a week or two. So without Pascal Siakam, we can expect pretty big roles for all the main Raptors guys. Van Vliet, OG, Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes. I think all these guys are viable. If I had to pick my favorite, it probably would be Van Vliet. He's only 7,600. He had a really good game on Sunday with Siakam out. 39 minutes, took 22 shots, had really good usage. 30 points, 11 assists, 56 Draftkings points. Obviously, same matchup today. Van Vliet's probably my favorite guy to go to on Toronto, but I definitely think Scotty Barnes and OG are viable as well. Scotty Barnes was solid. He had 41 DK points, played 40 minutes. OG had 42 DK points, played 38 minutes. Gary Trent wasn't as good. 18 DK points, 21 minutes. He's definitely not been that great this season, but I think his upside is a little bit higher with Siakam off the floor. And then I do want to talk about the bigs. So without Siakam, you should see more minutes available for Chris Boucher, Preston Achiuwa, and this Koloko guy. Koloko actually started at center, and he actually played good minutes. Now, he has started some games this season and hasn't really played much, but last game, Sunday night, without Siakam, he played 31 minutes and had 34 DK points. He had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 6 blocks. Does he play 31 minutes again? I'm not really sure. But if Koloko, I'm assuming he'll start again in place of Siakam. I think Koloko could actually be in play today. But definitely Chris Boucher looks really, really appealing. We know Chris Boucher is a good point per minute player. Last few games, he's played good minutes. And obviously without Siakam, the minutes should continue to be there for Boucher. He played 22 minutes on Sunday. If he plays anywhere near that, if not more, he should easily pay off 4,400. Boucher is one of these guys that can put up 35, 40 DraftKings points in only 25 minutes. And I think without Siakam, we can pencil him in for 24, 25 minutes a night. So I do really like Boucher at 4,400. If you want to go to Achua in tournaments, I don't hate that. He should be very low owned. But Boucher is a guy that I do like quite a bit for value on the Raptors today. But next game, let's talk about Boston and Memphis. Really, nothing looks good here. I mean, this is going to be, Boston's a team I try and avoid attacking. They're just a good defensive team. They played a slow pace. So none of these Memphis guys are really that appealing today. I think, John Morant, Desmond Bane are always viable. They're just low on dart throws today, though. On the Boston side, I mean, when everyone's healthy for Boston and when they're all priced correctly, nothing really stands out on Boston to me. If you want to go to Tatum or Jaylen Brown in tournaments, I don't hate it, but this is not a game that I really have much interest in. I don't see too much I like here. This is probably going to be one that I kind of fade today. So let's move on to the next game, the Knicks and the Timberwolves. So looking at Minnesota, I do want to talk about some Minnesota guys. Rudy Gobert is going to be out for Minnesota. He was out in their last game. So without Rudy Gobert, we can expect a pretty big role for Karl-Anthony Towns and definitely a big bump in terms of fantasy production. Towns played 30 minutes against Houston. Obviously, really good matchup, but he was very productive, had 51 DK points. This matchup against the Knicks, I would say, is not as good, but I think Towns should definitely, he should be back to a guy that puts up 50, 55 DK points a night. Like, those are the kind of numbers he should average when Gobert's off the floor. I think playing with Gobert has definitely hurt Towns a little bit, especially like rebounding numbers and stuff. But Towns should get back to being a really productive player with Gobert off the floor. I do like Towns quite a bit. Even at 10K, I think he's still a guy you can play at that salary. I think Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell don't look that great today. I mean, Edwards is play. Russell, I'm probably fading, though. His minutes have been way down. He just hasn't been that productive. On the Knicks side, I kind of have some interest in these Knicks guys because it is a really good matchup. Minnesota's been playing at a really fast pace this season. I think Julius Randle in tournaments does make some sense here. His upside, it's kind of been up and down this season, but he has had some big games. He had 43 DK points against Boston, 49 against Orlando, 51 against Memphis. He can randomly pop off at times and put up, 45, 50 DK points. And these are the type of matchups I like to target Randle in, these kind of, up and pace, fast-paced matchups. So I think Julius Randle is in play for tournaments. Same goes for Jalen Brunson. RJ Barrett, not as interested in. We did see Isaiah Hartenstein start last game in place of Mitchell Robinson. I'm guessing Isaiah Hartenstein will start again. He's 5,200. His price tag did come up, but he played 38 minutes last game against the Celtics. Clearly, Tom Thibodeau likes Isaiah Hartenstein because he's given him these big minutes. He's been playing good minutes off the bench, and now without Mitchell Robinson, I think we can expect pretty big minutes for Hartenstein. And dating back to when he was on Houston, Hartenstein was always a very productive point per minute player. 5,200, I think, is an appropriate price tag for him, but I still do have some mention in Isaiah Hartenstein because, again, he's a point per minute player that's going to play probably over 30 minutes. Assuming no blowout or foul trouble or anything like that. But that's it for this game. I think we kind of talked about everything here. I guess I do want to mention Kyle Anderson. So Kyle Anderson actually did start last game. He played 31 minutes and he was really productive. His price tag on DraftKings is still fairly cheap at 4,100. If Kyle Anderson does start again, I think he will be in play for value. Now, the matchup here against against the Knicks is not as good, but if we're going to get over 30 minutes from Kyle Anderson at 4,100, I mean, we know Kyle Anderson can be productive when he gets minutes. He was always close to a point per minute player when he was on the Grizzlies. I think at 4,100, he's in play today. So my main interest in this game, are definitely Towns, Hartenstein, and Anderson, but I do have some interest in GPPs for guys like Randle and Brunson too. But that'll do it for this one. Let's move on to the next game, Denver and San Antonio. These teams just played recently. I think it was on Saturday. They're playing again today. For this game, I think most of my interest is coming on the Denver side. I think Jokic in this spot against San Antonio looks like a really good spend up. Now, these teams did play, and it was a blowout, so Jokic did not get his full run, but he still put up 47 DraftKings points in just 27 minutes. The Spurs have been a team that have been getting killed by centers this year. They've been giving up a lot of points in the paint. I think this sets up as a very, very good matchup for Jokic. Hopefully San Antonio can keep this game close. This game is being played in San Antonio today, which should help to keep it close. I do like Jokic as a pay-up option. He's usually someone I'm always interested in as a pay-up option. And I do want to talk about Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray's been playing pretty well lately. His minutes have been trending up as well. Obviously, last game he didn't play much because of the blowout, but he was still productive, had 27 DK points in just 23 minutes. I'm expecting 30, 32 minutes at least from Jamal Murray tonight, maybe more. At 6,200 as a mid-range option, I think Jamal Murray's viable here. But my main interest in this game is definitely Jokic, and that's probably it. Like, I don't see too much else I like here. San Antonio, I don't think on this slate is going to be a team I really target at all. So let's move on to the next game, Brooklyn and Dallas. So I think this game's really all about the stars. You got Luka at 12.5, you got KD at 11.1. I mean, Luka is basically going to be a top pay-up option every single slate he's on. He crushed against Brooklyn earlier this year, 84 Draftkings points. His best game of the season came against the Nets. I mean, the Nets have been one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season. They have not been able to stop star players. So I think it's a great spot for Luka. He's probably one of the best pay-up options. I think it's really close between Luka, Giannis, and Jokic. Like, I think those are definitely the top 3 pay-up options today. But man, Luka looks great here. If you can fit him, obviously he's a really strong play. And then KD should continue to have a really big role while Kyrie Irving is out. A little bit of a tougher matchup for him against a pretty good Dallas defense, but KD is just going to have such a high usage rate. He's going to play so many minutes. The offense is going to run through him. 11-1, like, you could argue that 11-1 is still too cheap for KD with the role that he's going to have right now. Worth noting that Ben Simmons is questionable, and Ben Simmons could return today. If Ben Simmons returns, like, I guess that bumps down KD a little bit, but probably not enough to where I would just completely fade him. And then Ben Simmons himself, I think, would actually be very appealing. So without Kyrie Irving, I would expect Ben Simmons to be pretty productive. Definitely should be more productive with Kyrie off the floor. He's going to handle the ball a lot more. We know those peripheral stats are always going to be there. Maybe he'll start to be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. At 6,400, I think Ben Simmons is a very strong option today, assuming he's good to go, no minutes limit or anything like that. I have a lot of interest in him if he is playing. He's point guard, small forward on DraftKings too, which is very, very appealing. The Nicholas Claxton I do want to mention, just because he's been playing so well lately. Got into some foul trouble in that game against Charlotte, but he still put up 39 DK points. He had 36 DK points against Washington. I didn't really think his role was going to change after Kyrie got suspended, but he's been more aggressive offensively, been taking a lot of shots. He's been getting a lot of KD's been setting him up really well. He's not really a guy that has much of a jump shot. A lot of Claxton's points are going to come in the paint and at the rim, but he's been aggressive. He's been rebounding well. He's always a good shot blocker. I think he's still viable as a kind of mid-range center option. I do have some interest in Nicholas Claxton. But that really does it for this game. I think we can go ahead and move on to the next one, Sacramento and Golden State. So for Golden State today, I'm pretty sure all the main guys should be back. They rested last game, but I expect Steph and Wiggins, all those guys to play. I don't know why they're listed questionable. They should be back for this one. So with Golden State fully healthy today, really, nothing looks that great. I will say that, like, the matchup here against Sacramento is really good. So if you want to go to Steph in tournaments, I don't hate it. He's probably the only guy, though, that I'm really considering on Golden State. And then on the Sacramento side, I think De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis both kind of look appealing here. I will say that for Sabonis, this is definitely a good matchup. The Warriors have been getting killed by centers this season. They've been giving up a lot of fancy points to the center position. Sabonis only played 22 minutes against Golden State, but he put up 45 DraftKings points in just 22 minutes. If he would have played his normal minutes, he could have went for 70 against the Warriors last time they played. Fast-paced game. Both these teams played at a really fast pace. I actually like Sabonis a lot today. I think he's a very intriguing tournament play. I expect his ownership will be fairly low given it's a 15-game slate. So I definitely think Sabonis is probably my favorite play in this game. I have some interest in Curry in tournaments. Minimal interest, but I think he is viable here. And I think De'Aaron Fox is kind of interesting for tournaments too. But that's probably it. I really don't see anything else I'm loving in this one. So let's go ahead and talk about the last few games of the night. We got 2 more to go over. Lakers and Jazz. Just saw these teams play pretty recently. Starting off with the Lakers, obviously LeBron, AD at the top here. They're always viable, but I will say that on this slate, I prefer getting up to Giannis, Luka, Jokic if I can. I think AD at 9,100, especially given the savings, is probably my preferred of the two. LeBron's production's kind of been a little bit down lately. I don't know what's going on with LeBron, but last few games, he's been under 50 DK points now in 4 straight games. LeBron can pop off at any night and put up a huge game any night, but he's not going to be someone I prioritize today. AD, I think, is fine at 9,100. Westbrook, since he's gone to the bench, his production's actually been way up. His fantasy points per minute have been really, really good off the bench. I don't know if Westbrook's going to be viable today, but man, he's been playing really well. He's looked a lot better. He's looked like the old Westbrook, aggressive offensively, racking up peripheral stats. I wouldn't be surprised to see another 40-plus point game from Westbrook here. So, I think he actually is kind of in play today if you want to go there. On the Utah side, we will need to keep an eye on the status of Jared Vanderbilt. So, he did not play Sunday. This is a back-to-back for the Jazz. We did see Malik Beasley start for the Jazz on Sunday. I'm guessing if Vanderbilt's out again, Malik Beasley would start. That game is going on right now as I'm making this video, so I don't really know what Malik Beasley's doing Sunday. But if Malik Beasley does start again, he's only 4K. He's historically been a relatively productive player when he gets minutes. And a good matchup against the Lakers, I think Malik Beasley, assuming Vanderbilt's out and he starts, he would be someone kind of interesting for value. And then that's probably it. I mean, like Lauri Markkanen, he's been really good this season, but I think the $7,500 salary is about right for him. He crushed against the Lakers for what it's worth, but again, $7,500, I think that's an appropriate price tag. No one else really stands out on Utah, so that does it for this game. We can go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, the Cavs and the Clippers. So looking at this one, not seeing too much I love here on the Clippers side. I mean, Paul George always in play. Kawhi Leonard's still out, so obviously Paul George is going to have a really big role, really big usage. But on this slate, 15 games, tougher matchup against Cleveland. He doesn't really stand out to me. No one else on the Clippers I'm that interested in. And then on the Cleveland side, Donovan Mitchell's been playing really well this season, but I think with Karis LeVert healthy, with Darius Garland healthy, especially Garland being back, 9,200 feels like the right price tag for Mitchell. Garland's a guy that I kind of have interest in. He's been playing really well since he came back from his injury. He had that massive game against Boston, then he had 38 DK points on Sunday against the Lakers. He's only 6,900. That is definitely too cheap for Darius Garland, in my opinion. Garland's probably my favorite play overall in this game. I don't love a ton in this game, but I think Garland at 6,900 looks pretty appealing today. And that's probably it. I think like Zubac's a fine GBP play. His minutes should be solid here in a matchup against Cleveland where they're going to need his size, but again, you never know with Zubac when it comes to minutes. Jared Allen and Mobley, they feel priced about right. I mean, again, guys, I try to do my best to kind of just talk about the plays I have the most interest in. I didn't want to talk about every single player because if I did, this video would be 3 hours long. So hopefully I broke down the slate quickly and still gave you guys some good information. I don't know how long this video is, but hope you guys enjoyed. As always, if you enjoy these DFS videos, make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And check out PrizePicks as well, the sponsor of this video. Sign up for PrizePicks. Use promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100. And I should have a PrizePicks video for today. If I don't post it late Sunday night, it should definitely be posted sometime on Monday. Check that video out. See some PrizePicks plays I like for today. Tell me if you would like. But if you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, get signed up. Use promo code NOAH. Get your deposit bonus when you do sign up. But good luck tonight, guys. 15 game slate. Should be a fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.